let's say you want to increase your bench. So I can do 300 pounds for 1 rep. Okay, I'll bet anybody here after 8 weeks of doing this training, you'll probably do 350 or 360. I'll tell you why. Because for 2 weeks, you're sitting there and you're going slow, 5 seconds, and then push straight up, right? So what you're doing during those 2 weeks sounds gross. Number one, you learn how to do it right. Number two is you're ripping the tissue to so it's like you're just ripping. It sounds gross. But then what happens is after 2 weeks, that tissue recovers and it gets thicker. So then 2 weeks after that, now you do the bench at the lowest position, you hold for 5 seconds, push it back out again. That's the isometric muscle action where you hold it. It's a short cycle where you're resisting force. 2 weeks after, now you're not only gonna push more, but you're gonna push it faster.
I don't even need to give the man an introduction. He's a legend himself. Tony Greco in the business. There's only one-on-one. I'm not even going to start talking shit. I'm going to tell the truth, you know?
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm excited to have you, man. I'm really excited. I'm excited to meet the man, the legend.
Wow. Well, thanks for that, because you know what? I enjoy being on these podcasts and sharing the progress with other people out there.
I love that stuff, man. And
I love your energy.
I'm ready to go, man. I'm fired up.
Do you have an espresso or anything like
Nothing.
that?
I'm fasting, brother.
Cow.
I'm fasting.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to get this.
You're one of those guys that fasts too,
I'm trying to get the gunk out right now, you know?
Do you like it?
You know what? No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't know what anybody's talking about. You know how they tell you get this crazy boost of energy and all that other shit? I've been more hangry and psychotic than I've been coherent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, because I get a lot of people that do the fasting and they ask me my opinion on it. And it's like, you know what? If you're comfortable and you're doing it, great. I mean, there's always good and bad about things. I'm really big on facts. I speak to a lot of doctors. I can't tell you one thing, though. I did speak to a few doctors, and they said they've actually had the patients that were fasting a lot, they've actually had some health hazards in the future, right? But you know what? To me,
like
I always
crazy
think,
health hazards?
Well, not crazy, but they've seen a significant high amounts of people that have been fasting. Because to me, I always say, like, food is fuel. You know what I mean? And it's like driving a car. Can you drive a car 24 hours nonstop without any fuel? No, not really. Well, your body's works on a 24-hour cycle. You're working all the time. Even when you're sleeping, you're on cruise control, but you're still working.
I believe it.
Yeah. So I mean, food is fuel, and I guess people need to have like a little bit more discipline on what they put in their mouth, right? And sometimes the fasting is a good way, just like New Year's resolution, and then it's like people are on it. But I mean, I have to admit, there has been a lot of research on it, and I guess, you know, I mean, people and a few doctors went on talking about it. I think of maybe like a 24 to 48 hour fasting is good, but I'm still not sold on the big long one. But then that's just my opinion.
You know what, man? I've been eating shit for so goddamn long, you know? So I said at some point I tried the intermittent fasting. I agree with you, by the way. I always found what worked the best for me.
Yeah.
Is every 3-4 hours you have a meal or a snack.
Yeah. It's great.
I'd lose 1.5 pounds a day, but the problem is at some point I was binging on so many goddamn Twizzlers and shit. I was just liquor, bro. Like, if I could turn into rubber, I would have, man. You know,
really?
So, yeah. The sugar intake was ridiculous.
Why was it? Your just like the mood? Like what drove you to do that?
Just I got this sweet tooth that was killer, and then it just ruined my life. You know?
Right.
So I said at some point, I'm like, let me just try to fast it out. I tried all these different gimmicks. You know what? It was weird. I tried. I used to go to the gym for many, many years.
Yeah.
And then I had a massive car accident. So I already knew the regimen in terms of what worked for my body. But when you get to in your mid-30s, you're like, you know what? Let me try and see if I got something new. I feel like the testosterone's going down.
Yeah, it's common.
You know what I mean? It ain't going up the same way as a long time ago. So I said, you know what? Let's try some fasting. It ain't working for shit.
Yeah. You should do some blood work and get on some hormone therapy. That's
hormone
a good
therapy.
Yeah. And you could
Isn't that like steroids though?
No, it's not like steroids. Actually, we actually have that service that we could provide where you go do blood work. That's the thing, eh? Everybody's like, guys, is that steroids? Because a lot of people don't understand it. As you said, as you get to the age of 35, your testosterone with men starts to decrease. So like, I mean, your cortisol levels up. I mean, there's a whole bunch of imbalances of your hormones. So when you go do blood work, then the doctor can actually measure, and the slightest amount of testosterone that you need, you know, you can get that in right to your system, whether it's through an injection or an oral cream or something. But that's why it's got to be monitored by a doctor. So
this is not human growth hormones you're talking about,
it's
right?
not human growth hormone. It's just natural.
Maybe that's why I thought
when
I said that.
Yeah. So you know what? And that's why if you get it monitored by a doctor, I know a lot of people have had great results on it, believe it or not. Yeah.
You're a fucking legend, man. Yeah, be honest, what do you not know? I wish you were my fucking trainer back in the days.
No, you know what? I honestly keep learning more and more and more. And I've changed my whole fitness regime. I've changed my whole fitness perspective. And people know me from the Grecos, right? Remember the locations in Ottawa? We had over like 14 of them and then 2 in Toronto. But now I started my new brand, TG Athletics.
Athletics.
And it's all based on results, science. I don't teach anything that hasn't been tested or hasn't been measured. And you know what? I'm very open to suggestions. People that work out all the time, they're like, yeah, my trainer's getting me stronger. I'm doing this. I'm like, great. I'll bet you I can get you even more stronger. And they're like, well, how's that? I'm like, well, let me show you, right?
You're a walking fucking testament.
So this is what the biggest thing is. And you know what? I got to give credit to a big mentor of mine. His name is Kyle Dietz. He's out of the University of Minnesota. And this guy, Dr. Ben Peterson, they wrote a book called Triphasic Training. It's training 3 different tempos to generate maximum force of power. Meaning everybody goes in the gym and they're like, yeah, man, what do you bench, right? You've heard that. Yeah, what are you benching these days?
All the time.
Well, you don't hear someone saying, hey, what kind of movement are you doing on the bench? Are you doing an eccentric movement where you're going slow down and then push forward? You never hear that.
No.
But when you do that, that's a muscle action, right? So when you take the time to do a slow bench press for 2 weeks, right? Let's say you want to increase your bench. I'll make it really simple for our listeners. So we're not getting too scientific, but let's say you want to increase your bench. So for 2 weeks, I asked you, oh, you trainer? Yeah, I'm strong on the bench. Really? What can you lift? Oh, I can do 300 pounds for 1 rep. Okay, I'll bet anybody here after 8 weeks of doing this training, you'll probably do 350 or 360. And I'll tell you why. Because for 2 weeks, you're sitting there and you're going slow, 5 seconds, and then push straight up, right? So what you're doing during those 2 weeks sounds gross. Number one, you learn how to do it right because it's a lot of weight.
Resistance, right?
Number 2 is you're ripping the tissue to shit. So it's like you're just ripping. It sounds gross. But then what happens is after 2 weeks, that tissue recovers and it gets thicker. Okay.
And we want thicker anyways.
So then 2 weeks after that, now you do the bench at the lowest position. You hold for 5 seconds, push it back out again.
5 seconds.
5 seconds. Wow. Imagine holding it. That's the isometric muscle action where you hold it. It's a short cycle where you're resisting force. 2 weeks after, now you're not only going to push more, but you're going to push it faster. And most people go, oh, this guy trains athletes. That's athlete training. No, it's not athlete training. Athletes do timing and repetitions. But with my mainstream clients, these guys are faster, stronger, and they react so much quicker because you relate that to your everyday world, whatever job that you're doing, whatever profession you have. So you're moving quicker, you're moving faster, and you're resisting more force and generating more power. And most important, you're not consuming a lot of energy because your muscle's used to it. It's like, let's say you came running at me and pushed me over. I'd be like, whoa, 5 yards, and I come back and push you.
You're getting me excited here, Tony.
Think of this, right? You're pushing me back. I get up, now I push you. It takes time. Imagine if you came full speed and I stopped you, how fast I can push you. So everything's about putting the brakes on and pushing that weight forward. And I've seen people in the gym just, again, not to take a stab on the way people train, they all have their certain goals, but
a stab away, I'm fucking terrible.
What I'm telling you is that if you want to get stronger and faster, most people will progress in a U. They'll get stronger, they'll get faster, they'll see, aesthetically they'll look good. But I can tell you that if you train 2 weeks in a block, it's like learning a language, and you fluently do the 85% of your 1 rep max of a lot of your compound lifts, like your deadlifts, your bench, your single leg Bulgarian lunges, like all the heavy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That after 6 weeks, you'll be a lot stronger and a lot faster, and you'll move the weight a lot quicker. And you have less chance of injuring yourself. Why? Because that tissue's thicker.
As I was going to say, I saw on your website, you had one of, you were doing the water ones.
Oh, yeah.
And you had a couple of them. Because you know what? One of the biggest things I do here in the gym, the biggest complaints is shoulders.
Yeah.
People's shoulders are just mashed.
Yeah. Well,
what do they do, these guys?
Well,
because I saw you said bring it in or whatever.
Yeah, because a lot of people, 90% of shoulder injuries are due to an overload in bench because all these guys have these egos. They can't, chuck them out the door. They're like, get on that bench, right? And away they go. They don't warm up the joint. I mean, this is stuff. Listen, I'm only sharing my experience because I was that guy too. I was the guy in the gym. Yeah, let's see how much you bench. Let's see how much you do, and thank God, like I haven't had like any shoulder injuries or surgery, right?
I know it firsthand because I caught it too,
Crazy, right? So now, if you warm up the joint and, you work the little accessory muscles, your front, your rear side delts, again, you have more thicker tissue. It's like a thicker foundation so you can continue to train. I'm not saying you're going to be bulletproof and not get injured, but you definitely have a less chance because I see it in my athletes, right? These guys are going out there and they're working their butts off every day at their craft, training on the ice, off the ice, on the field, off the field. Like they're going, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
So all the wear and tear, they got to be almost bulletproof. So when you take that kind of training and apply to a mainstream client, it's a walk in the park, because most people go, oh, I do cardio days. I go on the treadmill. Okay, what about your weight? Oh, I do lunges. I do, chest press. I do tricep. That's like accessory stuff. That's like everyday stuff. But when you combine a lot of these heavy lifts to build a foundation and then you add movement patterns, that's training. So there's a difference between working out and training,
That's
say.
interesting you say that. Actually,
Yeah, because
very
you're like,
interesting
I work out. What do you mean? What do you do to work out? Training almost has to scare you.
Because I do the accessory shit the way you're saying.
Everybody does. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does. But training has to scare you. It has to scare you because you relate it even to your life experiences. Like if you're going under a squat rack and you're doing like 85% of your 1 rep max, you're like, holy shit, man. Like I better take my time to control this or I'm going to friggin' collapse my friggin' spine and my legs because you're resisting this weight. But guess what? When you're out there in the real world and someone's trying to eat you alive, what are you going to say? Oh, you're too big. Don't eat me. You're going to fight back and adapt to the stress.
Hopefully they do.
So that's what it's all about, the stress adaptations. It's so important. And that's why every single organism from like your brain, your joints, your cells adapt to that stress. So when you relate in the real world, whether you're an athlete or not, in business, you're going to conquer your goals because you're used to it. Your brain's used to going, shit, I've been there before. I'm resisting, screw this stuff. I'm going through it. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy the neurological effect it has. And that's why I'm so fascinated and passionate about the training because it works, right? It works. I've done it myself. I like to be the guinea pig and it works. And if someone's wants to say, hey, look, Tony, guess what? I don't believe that. Actually, I can get you stronger because I had 10 of my guys, jump off a trampoline and their leg strength was, extended by 10, 15 pounds. Great. I'll put the trampoline in and I'll do the same thing because we're here to share progress with others.
That's amazing,
that's what I do. I'm very open to suggestions, but I can tell you that this stuff here, again, if it isn't tested and isn't measured, then to me, you're just guessing. So I'm not going to believe it. I'll listen.
A lot of that happens though.
It happens all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. And because people just persuade people to thinking it's good because they always, if a guy that's big and strong and is ripped, just because it worked for him, that guy might not have, the genetics you have. That guy might not be on the same food plan or supplement plan. Okay.
Hey, GH, we'll sell it to you on the black market.
You know what I mean? I've been in this industry long enough. I know if you're real or not. Like, I don't care who you are. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, you must have these x-ray visions, right? As soon as you look, I know what's going on.
Studying the body. I'm 5'8", 190 pounds. I can't be 5'8", 200.
By the way.
I can't be 5'8", 200. Thank you.
Solid.
Thank you.
It's not fucking 190 with 60%,
it's
on
like
the BMIs.
I can't be 220. It doesn't work like that genetically, Now, I can be, illegally, but I might not be able to wipe my butt, you know what I mean? But
Couple
I'll look
jobs.
pretty good, right? But again, it's all who you are. It's all who you are and what
Fuck,
you
I
are.
don't even know how much better you can look, man. If you took a couple of those jabs, I think you just looked ridiculous at that point, man.
Oh, man.
You know what? You have a lot of that Mark Cuban mentality because have you ever seen when Mark Cuban, he bought, was it the Dallas Cowboys or the Mavericks? The Mavericks.
Okay.
The ball team.
Okay.
And then he was trying to get the ticket sales up.
Right.
So what did he do? He went to the boardroom, he brought everybody in, and then he started picking up the phone and he started calling his customers.
Really?
So he can be like, listen, if I can do it, you can do it. And you're talking, this guy's a billionaire, right? He doesn't got to do any of this.
Right.
But you're doing the same thing, if you got to get the trampoline going.
Yeah.
But the question is I see, because you got a lot of that fire Italian blood, you know what I mean? You got all that raging testosterone anyways. Where did it all start from, man?
Well, I think it started from my childhood experience. I came to Canada, I was 7 years old. My parents were very poor, $500 in a suitcase, which probably justifies 90% of the immigrants that, you know, were coming here in late 1970s. And it was just, you know, you had to fight, right? You had to, and I think that's where like that whole, you know, overcoming of obstacles came, because we were very poor.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up on McLeod Street. We were actually renting a place there. I have 2 older sisters, and
there you go.
yeah, McLeod Street. And then from there, we stayed with my uncle for a bit because we didn't have any money. And then my mom worked at an old age home and a restaurant, like every other immigrant, like, you know, because grade 3 education, incredible, right? That's what they had. My dad was working construction. And,
for sure he was.
Yeah,
he was doing concrete or fucking stucco.
Yeah, he was paving.
Okay,
so that was it. So, and then for me, the pressure was on because obviously, you know, they came to this country so we could, you know, write our future and expand our horizons. So it was either, you know what, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be something that makes you a lot of money, because I guess they tied success to money, right? And it was hard. It was hard because I grew up, I played football. I was in the big kid. I had good years playing football.
What position?
Running back.
Fuck, you look like one.
So, I mean, I loved it. And I remember my buddy, Luigi, he's like, I said, listen, I've never even played. I don't even know what this stuff is. He goes, just run with the ball, right? And I loved it. Played at Glebe and, you know, had a great career in football. Then I started with hockey. I had the martial arts in the meantime during this stuff that, you know, really, I think the martial arts.
The kickboxing.
The kickboxing was the one that was important. And I think a reason why it was important is because, I got beat up. I got beat up at a young age. So back then, you know, well, now they call it bullying, but I was like,
I'm trying them now, guys.
I was, I mean, I'm sure we all have these stories. I was backed up with my back against the wall with about 14 guys. But you know what? I competed at a national level. I was seeded 4th in North America, got my black belt.
Hold on, where are you going? You just told me, guys, you had your back against the wall by 14 guys. You went right to North America?
I was.
What happened to these 14 guys?
Well,
you know?
the 14 guys.
Chuck Norris?
I took a few shots in the ribs. I took a lot of the shots, and I remember going home, and my dad's like, "What happened?" Because he told me if I ever fight and I come back here, he's going to give me a few more. You know,
100%.
You know, and that was the mentality. So it was like a fear. And my good friend Joe Sabusco, he's like, you know, he
not
told me,
that
yeah,
Joe,
yeah, that's Joe. He gave me a
You're
good quote.
there, right?
It's like a dog, right? Like every dog, like even a dog that you don't think's gonna bite you, right? Until you kind of like push that dog to bite you, eventually that dog's gonna bite you. Every dog's gonna bite you, right? So that was the retaliation for me. And then it was like, okay, this is it, survival, boom. And I think the more experiences in life that people go through, will crush these obstacles that hinder people's positive growth, right? Because the fail of fear and the fail of failure and the fail of, you know, you shouldn't do this, don't do that, don't do this, that we hear constant from an upbringing. And we heard that with our parents, you know, if you're not a lawyer or doctor, you're a loser. You better go this. Man. So it's like, oh shit, am I going to fail? Oh, he's not, like, it's just that whole, you know, it's like that message, like subconscious. Yeah. So it sticks to you. So when you conquer, boom, then away you go. And like even to this day, my dad still doesn't know what I do. Like, you know what I mean? Because,
he
doesn't. You know, he doesn't know what I do. I mean,
or he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. You know, so that's now I think like everybody that goes through an experience in life, whether it's a good one or bad, will base those thoughts, and then that emotion in the brain will create that situation if it ever comes back again, you know?
Right.
So I'm big on that now. I'm really big on like
I'm big on the fact that you just said you've known this guy for how many years?
Well, Joe, I've known him for a while, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. He's right. I bet you if we put you on right now, the stories that would come out, man, Johnny Boy would cut this whole thing.
You got to get him because we have a podcast, Building Body, Strengthening Minds. We're just actually changing the name to a flex and facts.
Hey,
right?
man, I love it. I love it. I'm with it, man. If you want to use me as a guinea pig,
we gotta get you on. So
I'm down, but use me as a guinea pig too, man. I gotta lose the weight, brother.
Yeah, we'll make you lose the weight. How much you want to lose? What do you think you gotta lose?
When I was solid, because I used to play football too, right?
Yeah.
I was a linebacker. So when I was solid, I was like 225, 230.
Yeah.
Solid. And then after the accident, I was just 330 pounds 6 months ago, man.
Wow.
I'm down at 273 now. Okay. You know? So I'm trying to get down back to the 230s, 240s.
So you know how you do it?
I want to see Magic Johnson. Every time I go to take a pee, I can't see him anymore.
You know how you do it? You eat 5 times. Look, I'm going to give you the simple facts here. 5 times a day, use the hand system. Look how easy this is. 5 times a day. You already said about little meals. Palm of the hand is going to be your protein portion. Whether you like chicken, beef, fish, tofu, if you're more on the veggie side.
You have a better method than fucking micro counting? Macros?
Yeah, man.
The palm of your hand. Tell me
so
about
look, the palm of your hand. So the palm of your hand is going to be the portion of chicken, fish, all your protein sources, okay? Beef, lamb, whatever. And then if you're more on the vegetarian side, are you not? Okay, so let's just stick to that. So number one thing you're going to do is you need to get that one piece. Then you're going to say this.
Just one, right?
Just for your size, you're going to need probably 2 per meal. This is how much food you're going to have to eat. And I'll tell you why, because most people are listening like, this guy here has got to eat food, he's going to lose. Yes, because let me explain you the way it works here. So you're going to have that protein, right? And think of protein as muscle. It's building muscle. Then you're going to have 2 tight fists of anything green, okay? Spinach, broccoli, green beans, whatever, okay? Now, I can't eat green, okay?
Yeah, the Popeye special.
Have the Popeye special, okay? Yeah. Mixed vegetables. Or, you know what, then you're just going to drink water, but instead of water, because you're going to drink that too, you're going to have lots of lettuce, because that's pretty much water, okay?
Basically.
Then you're going to have, at lunch, you're going to have a little bit of a starch. So you're going to have like either a cup of rice, a cup of pasta, okay, one or the other. You can alternate.
Does couscous work?
What's that? Yeah, couscous. You can have like 2 slices of bread at lunch. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
All right.
Because you're going to be going some starches. Every 3 hours, you're going to eat. Because technically speaking, that meal I just painted would be like you having a personal chef saying, okay, here we go, Joe, it's time to eat again, time to eat again, time to eat every 3 to 4 hours. You can't realistically do that, okay? So what you're going to do is every time you can't eat, you're going to have a smoothie. You're gonna put a blender.
Now you're talking dirty to me,
You're gonna have a blender in your office.
I have a fucking blender.
Perfect. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna have a smoothie, and you're gonna put a scoop of protein. You're gonna put your greens. You're gonna put a lot of your berries and stuff in there. And I can give you some of these recipes. And that's gonna be a meal.
I'll take them.
Okay. So breakfast, break the fast. Think of that word, breakfast, break the fast. Then you're gonna have a meal in 3 hours. Then you're gonna have another meal at lunch. Then you're gonna have another snack. Then you're going to have your dinner.
So meal, snack, dinner?
Yeah, snacks are like meals to me.
Okay.
Because you're going to have the portion of protein, carbs, and fats. Now you're like, holy geez, it's 10 o'clock. I just finished having my breakfast 3 hours later. Now this guy wants me to eat a steak. You could eat a steak, but if not, then you could supplement with a smoothie, right? Because 30 grams, you want to have about 30 to 35 grams of protein every meal.
Okay? I'm okay with a smoothie 7 days a week.
Yeah, you could do that as your mid-morning snack. Then you have one in the afternoon. Because what you're doing is you're providing fuel. So what happens is this. When you let's say you're eating a piece of steak. So all of a sudden you're eating this steak. Technically, you should be chewing it 33 times. Nobody does that. But your body's like, holy geez, here comes this steak. Starts to get all these pistons going in the engine and starts to metabolize. So it increases your metabolic rate. So by doing that, it goes, I need fuel to break this steak. Use this fat and use this carb, because carbs and fats are a form of fuel.
That's
so what you're doing is you're putting your body into what we call that thermogenesis stage. It's like, think of a car. You starting that car up and making it idle all day. You're going to burn fuel, not as much as if you're revving it all day, but you're still burning. So what you're doing is, because you're getting that balance of carbohydrates, protein, and fat, that's an energy source that your body needs. It knows that that's the fuel it runs on. So fat and carbs is like a fuel mix. High octane, low octane, that's the mix. Then your protein is going to be what
You're
drives
a fucking car guy. I have to cut you off. Everything is a car reference. I love it, man.
Because we have to make it simple.
I only like V8s and V10s and V12s.
So you're going to go from a V6 to a V8 right now.
I'm like a fucking hybrid right now. I'm trying to go to V4 first.
But that's what's going to happen, because you're going to burn all day long, and you're going to be like, holy shit, like I'm eating, but I'm burning. Because it's not how much you eat. It's what you're eating. And that is the biggest solution, the biggest obstacle for people, is that people are like, I'm eating. No, you're not. You're not eating the right foods. I'm not saying to go out there and have, pizza, bags of chips and this and that. That's not eating. It's what you're eating. Food is fuel. Your body recognizes that it's good fuel. It's going to use it up as energy, and you're going to burn more. And you're going to actually look way, way better. And you're feeding your muscles, because for every pound of muscle, you need 1.2 grams of protein. That's just to sustain that muscle. People are like, oh, I lost weight. You lost weight, you lost muscle. And I mean, as you get older, you can't afford to lose muscle. Like, strength and muscle for people that get older are so crucial. Like, that's a whole other podcast. It's crazy. Like, they can't even get off their chairs if they don't have any muscle. So it's so crazy. And I should have brought my book, but I wrote a book, you know, and it's
We
called
just saw that right before.
Strong Mind, Lean Body. And you know what I did?
Exactly.
I asked elderly people, what would you have done different now? And they said, you know what? Kept my strength and kept my muscle. Because you see them with walkers in these old age homes, and it's like with a cane, and it's like a lot of them is because the density of the muscle. They didn't have any more muscle left. They stopped moving. And
is that what it is?
Yeah, a lot of them. And it's like they wish they would have spent more time, you know what I mean, doing the kind of work that would build the strength. And that's kind of one of my biggest fears. It's like, you know, I believe in aging gracefully. I just don't want, you know, someone holding my, you know, my penis.
You're going to look like
you know
Sylvester Stallone in 76, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
But you know what I mean? He's
a fucking legend.
Yeah, he is a legend. But that's the thing. It's all about the strength and the balance as you get older, right? You don't want to lose that, you know, because you can't buy time, right?
Well, you can't buy time.
Yeah. So
most expensive currency.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why the meal plan, you know, the combination of eating great is about 80%, and then the other 20% is from the exercise and the genetics. Like even people that are like, I mean, if you're big boned, you're not going to be small boned. Like it doesn't work.
Yeah,
so just accept who you are. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Not everybody wants to be you, and you can only be you. You know, and it's like, stop comparing. Oh, I want to look like that person. No, you don't. You want to look like yourself.
You'll never find anybody that's satisfied. If you see a guy that's big density, the skinny guy's like, man, I wish I can reach your size. You're like, buddy, I can't get rid of it.
Exactly. And that's the thing where as soon as people come to a conclusion of accepting who they are, automatically they're in that more mental state of achieving what they really want, because now they're believing and they have the ability to say, look, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to be the guy that I am. But guess what? As I, you know, as I put on some more lean muscle, as I work out, as I feel good, things that you do are going to be a lot better. So people that feel good about themselves do things a lot better than people that don't feel good about themselves.
Yeah, it's a fact. 100%.
There's an old quote that I tell everybody. I say, winners know who they are and what they want, and losers are always looking at who to blame. That's what they do. Oh, it's not my fault, it's his fault. No, it's not. It's your fault. Well, I should have did this, but this guy did this. No, he didn't. You did it.
That's the quote on Flex and Facts.
You know, that's
that's the quote. I already catching you guys. We're getting catchphrases already.
I love it. I got
to ask you a question.
Yes.
When Lebs first came here, they all ran to the Bell Street apartments.
Yeah.
What about the Italians? Was it McLeod? Was it
Preston
that area?
Street, Preston Street. Preston Street was the one that, you know, I mean, the Italians are still, well, they're kind of getting booted out now, but there's still a few.
I was going to say
they call it Little Italy, but is it Little Italy right now?
No, not anymore, man.
Yeah, I think Preston was Preston, Beach Street area. I grew up near the Civic Hospital. That's where my parents still live there. They bought a house after we stayed at our uncle's house. And, you know, I'm glad you brought this topic, right? Because this is going to raise a whole bunch of other interests. But they bought a house back then for $64,000 back in 1974.
Buddy, you're saying that now, you're pissing off everybody.
Isn't it crazy? $64,000. Right next to the Civic Hospital. It's a very prestige area. As you know, right now, I mean, you're probably not getting a garage for $1 million, right?
No chance.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
It's just crazy what they did.
You're stirring the pot. You're poking the bear, right? Poor kids nowadays are like, what the fuck is $750K for a piece of shit?
Isn't it crazy?
It's nuts. It's unbelievable.
So, I mean, they never went out. They very rarely went to restaurants and vacation. It's crazy what our parents did for ourselves. So they paid that house off in 10 years. Imagine that. Now, if you were a high-end lawyer, imagine this, because I don't know anything about politics, but my good friend Pierre Polyev, who you know, hopefully is going to be the new.
I love that guy. I want him to be on the podcast, man.
So here's the thing: if you were a lawyer, and let's say you're two lawyers in the household and making like, you know, $200,000 each, like you still wouldn't be able to really afford that house if you had your cars, a car each, the insurance, and, you know, with the price of food these days, it's crazy.
That's nuts.
That's what makes you think, right? So,
anyways,
that's my 2-minute political.
I love how you just said, I'm not a politician. I don't know much about politics, but he just came with the common sense.
Well, it's just because I hear that comment all the time, right? And it's like, man, because I don't think about it. You know what I mean? Because I have, you know, 2 daughters, and it's like, man, it's hard for the kids these days.
It's nuts.
It is. So,
you know what? I love that you brought that up, that your Pierre's friend. was funny because I remember when I was looking online, it said one of the comments, you remember this Shawnee boy? The guy's like, he's a Pierre Polyev fan. That's all I got to say.
Oh, yeah.
The guy responds, so he's a winner then, eh?
Yeah. And then one guy said, oh, you should stick to your hockey training, not your political stuff. But this guy's a personal friend. I mean, if you have to take the political aspect, then whether you want to follow me or not, then I don't need you as a fan. Believe me, trust me.
No, it's crazy.
It's
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
That whole liberal doctrine stuff is nuts.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was like you, man. I only started getting into politics now.
Right.
Because I'm like, the country's gone to shit. It really
that's what I hear, right? I try to like decoy like all the stuff. I don't watch TV. I used to watch the news about 6 years ago. It was just a ritual. Every night at 11 o'clock, I used to watch the news. And it's like ever since I stopped watching news, sleep better. And I do meditation before I go to bed. So I put like
breathing techniques?
No, it's just a self body screening. So basically, it's a passage that you just listen to, and it's just think of a shining light coming from the top of your forehead, just coming all the way down to your feet, relaxing every single muscle.
And it works.
It works because you're just chilling out and you're breathing in. You got to know the breathing, but within 3 minutes, I'm asleep in a deep sleep. And
way.
I love it. I love it. It's the best thing. I recommend it to everyone. I never was. Meditation. I'm like, what the heck? I'm not chanting Om or stuff. That's not what it is. And I was that guy.
Like
I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Just to chill. Even in the morning, people are always hard on themselves because they carry the thoughts from the night before.
Oh, that's a damn fact.
So wake up and say, wow, like just breathe and go, look, 250,000 people on their last breath today. I'm alive here looking at myself in the mirror. And I'm breathing. Like go out there and get the job done.
That's
right?
A damn fact.
Yeah, just your whole program reset is so key for people. Like it's just the way you think is the way you feel. And if the way you feel affects your human state, you got to change that. But I can't do it. I mean, we're trying to tell you through this from a podcast to change. But at the end of the day, you got to be willing to update the software.
You said it, man. You know what? Yeah. The amount of people I've tried to help in a lifetime, unless they want to help themselves, there's not a damn thing you can do for them on the planet.
And eventually it exhausts you, right?
It's disgustingly tiring, man. It burns you out. How about I tell you, what my meditation is?
The cigars.
It's one of these.
I love it. I saw it on the podcast. I'm like, I like it, but I like it. It's good,
You're a cigar guy?
Well, I'm not really a big cigar guy, but you know what? I know you're going to light one up. I love it. I'm not really a big cigar guy, but you know what? The thing is, I hang around with a lot of friends that smoke cigars. Once in a while, I mean, you're not going to believe this, but I actually like the flavored blueberry ones, just to kind of be in.
You're talking about the cigarellos,
just to be with the group, just to be you know what I mean, have that social.
You're a fucking legend, you know that. He just wants to chill with the boys.
That's it.
I'll have a blueberry, I'll be a fucking cigarello. That's amazing, man.
But I love the fact that cigars, coffee. This is the stuff that brings people together, and the more and more we can get that with individuals. That's really what life's all about. Is like coming together as friends, family, because at the end of the day, that's all we have, right? I mean, it's so important. So that's why I love the fact of working together, like having that cigar, having that pizza, and that's the other thing. You don't have to be perfect, but you strive for consistency, and then your level of tolerance on where it is that you want to be, you distinguish that, right? Because there's two things that motivate people. One is pain, and the other one's pleasure. So if you associate your thoughts with what you're trying to accomplish, and you see the pain factor, you're going to do whatever it takes to overcome that. And if you see the pleasure and the light at the end of the tunnel, you're going to see that too. So that's the yin and yang that go on in your brain every single day. Should I, could have, and what about if I do this? Well, there's this cause. So with every cause, there's an effect. But as long as you're willing to just work and massage those daily disciplines throughout the day, I really think you can get through whatever it is that you want to get through. I've seen it in the fitness industry. That's just the business that I'm in. But I relate this to everyday life because people are like, oh yeah, you teach fitness. I say, I don't teach fitness. I transform bodies, up the spirit, strengthen minds. Fitness is something that everybody does. That's why I ask you, you go in the gym and everybody can teach you how to do a lunge. And if you can't, just Google it, how to perform a front lunge. And you're going to see it.
Accessory workout.
Yeah, exactly. Grab 2 dumbbells, go for it. It's going to be very easy.
Yeah.
So you don't need a trainer, but that's why the trainer brings out the best of you. And that's why I'm very, very big on the mind. Because the mind, everything stems from your mind. If you think you can't, you can. If you think you can, you're right. And that's all that matters.
It's like that old saying. I love it. So we started creating ceilings for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it says you're a life coach now.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of that. And I'm enjoying it. And I'm enjoying it because, all I do is I share a lot of the experiences. I mean, I don't believe someone should tell you what to do if they haven't experienced it themselves. Not just me.
You're the guinea pig.
You know, because I mean, growing up, I was very competitive. I won a gold medal for Canada. I'm humble about that in 1995 in kickboxing. And people are like, you should talk about that more often. I go, you know what? I talk about the experience. And the experience was that it got me into fitness because, you know what? Training and going through that hard work and persevering. Yeah, it was a gold medal. A lot of people doubt I can win. They say, I don't know if you can win a gold. So that drove me to work harder and like, screw this shit. You want to see me work? That's the mentality because I hated to lose. I refused to lose, right?
But then after you got that gold medal, everyone's like, I told you could do it.
Yeah,
eh?
and now I'm like, you know what? That rush, that high, whatever you want to call it, I said everyone should go through this, not just me, because it's such a high. That's why I can understand why people run. They're like, what do you like about running? The runner's high. So that's my high, is that just, you know, that feeling. So, you know, share it with a lot of people, because the thing is, everybody, you know, should be able to experience that. You shouldn't just be an elite fitness guy. I mean, it's just for everyone. Fitness is a whole lifestyle. Yeah. So I share that experience. I ask people, are you depressed? Yes. But you know what? Start training. And when you start training, you don't have to necessarily be with me, then come and speak to me. And it's amazing how their mind shifts. They're like, oh, I started walking now. I'm starting to do you feel better? Yeah. They just started movement. Yeah. They didn't even start anything else. Yeah. So I really believe, and I know for a fact, I mean, you have diabetes, smoking, that, you know, triple the amount of times, obviously, that, you know, you could pass away and leave this planet. But then if you have fitness, for instance, that you're working out all the time, that's a natural drug that will help you live a lot longer, especially cardio-wise, if you're in shape. I forgot the statistics that there was, but I mean, to me, medicine, the new medicine is fitness. You know, not that I'm in the industry and it's not just a push about, but it's the way people feel, because I see it in their everyday world when I'm doing the coaching. You know, I see it all the time. They come in feeling bad, they leave feeling good. What changed? Nothing. They just started working out. That's all they did, you know? But during the workout, it's the mindset of, you know, the dopamine rising in the brain, the serotonin. Wow, I feel good. I fulfilled something. This is about me. I feel tighter. I'm in a good mood. That's what they carry out, right? And then it carries out into the real world, whatever it is that they're doing. And so it's amazing. I see it all the time.
I believe it. My motto is, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. So you might as well enjoy it. You might as well enjoy it while you're here, right? And psychologically, you feel better. That's what I mean, is that the better you feel about yourself, I think it's like stress levels are really high. So just as, you know, there's this thing called epigenetics, just how you can make yourself feel sick, you can make yourself feel good. That's just my belief. It's
incredible what the mind can do, because I remember I read 2 stories.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman, basically, he was stuck in a train cabin.
Wow.
Right? So train derailed. He got stuck in the cabin. Let's just say the door got crushed. By the time the rescue team came and opened up the cabin, the guy had died from hypothermia.
Wow.
But it was 25 degrees outside. How'd you die from hypothermia?
Yeah.
So then the brain started playing tricks in his mind. So when he was writing his journal before he died, and he says, I'm freezing to death. How? By the time they got there, it was 25, 26 degrees. So it was 32, 33 right before that.
Right.
So that's what the mind can do.
Yeah.
It's incredible, man. Second, I remember I watched there was a gentleman, he was reading, the guy gets a lot of fan mail. I don't know if you're an Andrew Tate, but he gets a lot of fan mail. And some guy was telling me he wants to kill himself.
Okay.
So he was like, listen, man, I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't help you in that sense, but can you at least can you at least promise me something? And he says, sure, I'll promise you something. He's like, before you kill yourself, can you promise me I'll at least go to the gym and get a 6-pack? Right?
Right.
The guy got a fucking 6-pack. It didn't feel that way anymore.
Wow.
He felt great. He was like, I got a 6-pack.
Wow.
You know? So it's crazy what fitness can do. Right?
It is. And now, you know, the big thing is this cold plunge, right? Everybody's talking about this cold plunge.
It's fucking
and the breathing,
nuts, bro. I can barely see Magic Johnson when I take a piss.
You know, but
you know, I'm going to jump in a fucking bathtub full of ice.
But like, it's a big thing, but it's like, you know what? Think about this, right? Like, these guys that go in and automatically like, and they, you know, because it's so cold, you're just used to it. But the more frequent you go in, it's like taking a cold shower. It's the first thing. But, you know, where the mind goes, the energy flows, right? So if you think that it's not, then it's amazing how people kind of overcome that, right? I'm not even going to go into like whatever the benefits or if there's
I'd love to hear it. I've never tried the cold plunge before.
I don't know enough about it. I'm still doing a lot of research on it. I hear different things. I'm just using your analogy of the mind, is that you know, the mind is so powerful. And that's a big one because you see a lot of these people in all these cold tubs, but it's like, you know, I feel better. Well, you feel better too because you've overcome this sensation of, you know, going into something cold that you're like, usually, it's freezing, where you've calmed down, you've taken a step back. And that's an indication that calmness is very important. You know, that's why the meditation, calming the mind, is really, really good because this muscle is going 24/7. So it's not bad to give it a massage once in a while. That's why, going back to the meditation, big believer of that. You know, and meditation could be spending, you know, time on your own for like 5-10 minutes, listen to some new age music, reading a chapter of a book, whatever the case may be, something that just kind of eliminates you from that everyday world for just that 2 or 3 minutes.
What do you do, since you're always talking about personal experience? What's your thing?
Well, my thing is at night before I go to bed.
The meditation?
And then in the morning. And that's it, because I'm busy throughout the day. But at night, it's almost like I can't wait. We call it, you know, Club Leto, right? Because where are you going? We're going to Club Leto, right? Sleeping. So it's just so nice to sleep, right? And just relax after an exhausting day of perseverance and, you know, always challenging with the mental stress, the physical stress. You know, everybody goes through it, right? So,
I got to know, first of all, what happened to Greco?
Oh, well, Greco was bought by an equity firm out of New York and then some local business guys here in Ottawa. And I stayed on as a brand ambassador. And I'm very grateful and blessed that like 8 years ago, we actually sold the brand, me and my business partner, Paulo. And then this group took over. And
did you know him for forever too?
Yeah, I've known him forever. Yeah.
As long as John.
Yeah. We started back in the day, and I've known him forever. So what happened was they took it over, and great vision. I was a brand ambassador, and I guess the vision didn't go so well. And it's very common, apparently, when other groups buy big companies, from what I hear. It's a little bit, you know, it's a word I'm trying to use. I mean, it's just because I feel for the people that have supported me over the past, you know, 25, 30 years, because we did a lot of great things for this community in Ottawa. It was kind of like we set the boundaries for circuit training. Now there's a lot of circuit training everywhere. All these companies from New York and like Orange Theories and the F45s, but we were way, way ahead of the game. I remember when I started doing circuit training, people thought I was nuts, but I called it lean and fit centers.
Wow.
And it was like, you know, the stations, and it brought everybody together. We had the fancy bar, the espressos, the smoothies, the chicks, the guys, everything was just it was a shit show, right? Everybody knows your name. It was cool. It was cool. Yeah. So, and then the vision just, I guess, didn't happen. And now
what did they do though? Like why did they end up shutting everything down?
They didn't. I think a lot of them, even maybe the COVID thing might have had something to do with it. I really don't know what happened. All I know is that I was a brand ambassador, and then I kind of signed a non-compete for 2 years. I went to further my knowledge in the fitness world, which was something that I love to do, because I was bored after for a while. And I think it was the best thing that happened to me personally, because I was able to spend more money and learn more things. And I recommend people don't stop learning into the field that I love, and that's health and fitness. And right now, you know, working with these other mentors, it brought me from here to here, you know, because I have a whole another love for fitness. Now I don't teach, like I said, anything that hasn't been measured or tested. So what it does for you as a client is like, you know what, it gives you the proper science behind the training. And I think a lot of it is lost that. I was one of those guys too, not intentionally, but there's a lot of coaches, trainers, it's not their fault. It's not their fault, because every trainer, every coach wants you to get better, but it's because they haven't expanded their horizons to.
Are you guys watching what he's saying? Did anybody take the key takeaway? He invested in himself and he got himself a mentor.
Yeah.
And how much did that help you?
A lot. I mean, I can tell you, like, I spent a lot of money, but it was worth every penny, because
no, that's fine. Yeah. That's perfect, man. Because a lot of people don't understand.
They don't.
That, you know, they love to go for the free stuff. If somebody gives you something, if your dad gives you a car, you're not going to value it as much as if you bought it yourself. No. You know what I mean? No. So if you invest in yourself.
Yeah. And my value, and a lot of people tell me too, they're like, you know, they think some people, they're like, wow, he's great, but he's expensive. I said, what do you mean expensive? It's my value. My value is 24 hours. I mean, if I'm sleeping, obviously I'm not going to answer the phone, but I mean, my value is every day to my clients. They can text me. If they're in a grocery store on what to buy, what to eat, they can, you know, tell me,
you're that accessible?
I'm that accessible because I only have so many clients. And my coaches, I have 4 coaches that work with me, and they do the same thing. These guys are not your typical coaches, right? These guys are like a higher standard of fitness because they've put themselves to that level. It's like any other profession, right? You got good people that work so much. You got other people that work extra hard to get you what you need.
You also train soccer players, though.
Yeah, I do.
Because I remember I heard of your name years ago from Ottawa Fury guys.
Yeah, soccer, football, hockey. I mean, a lot of people see hockey on my Instagram, but I mean, what they don't realize, we have a lot of mainstream clients that are there all the time. I mean, the hockey guys are just there seasonal. But you know, we just put them on, social media because it looks cool and people get excited and it's like, oh wow, that looks cool. But
yeah, it's a hockey town.
Yeah, it's a hockey town, right?
Yeah, it makes
national sport. But I mean, the principles that we apply to people has really, really changed their lives because again, the training works because it's been tested, and that's the key.
Did the whole Greco changing hands affect you because it was obviously your last name?
It did, and it did in a good and a bad way. So the good way is that people still know Greco. It's funny because I'll walk around Ottawa like, yeah, I used to go to your location. I'm like, oh yeah, I used to listen to your radio show. And they know the name Greco. I guess it was a name that was easier to remember.
It was.
So, thank you. So the good thing is that because they remembered that, it's one little step. It's like, yeah, now it's actually TG Athletics. TG, Tony Greco. Oh, that's your own personal. So it almost gave me an uplift in marketing at the same time as people.
As you're tried and tested,
yeah. So,
but what's the downside, though?
Well, the downside is that people. I used to go around the city, see my name, in different areas of town, Barhaven, Orleans, Canada, and I used to say like, wow, like we did amazing. Look at all the people we've transformed their bodies and stuff, and now that's not there. And I see a lot of things have changed, including other people that have opened up circuit style, which is flattering to us because it was like,
you're the pioneer and you introduced them. I know, I love that.
And I have to admit, my members are very loyal because even though they're at other places, I've heard them and people have told me and they said, listen, don't forget, Tony was the pioneer in this. Greco started this. So they're still talking about it, which is very overwhelming. Yeah.
Well, on top of that, you answer your phone when they're going grocery shopping. I'd be like, man, what do I look like? I'm fucking married to you.
That's what my clients, what? My clients are like, they pay good money, but I want to provide great value.
No, I love that. See, that's the thing about how I do business, right? It's not just about taking money from the client.
Yeah.
I want to be able to provide them massive value. So I have a lot of respect for somebody that does that.
Yeah. Well, my model has always been like, I grew my business on not putting the money first. I always say, be the best version of yourself and those things will chase you. Don't chase that because a lot of people chase it. So I was like, I remember
Say that again one more time.
Well, be the best version of yourself and money will chase you.
That's another quote for Flex
because what happens is that, and I'll tell you where I use this. So when I did I was in martial arts. That's why I started martial arts in Barhaven.
Yeah.
And then what happened was after gold medal, I wanted to give that experience to people. So I started opening up a fitness studio, but I wanted to be an Olympic coach. I said, where do I go? Like what certificates? What do I need? What do I do? I want to be an Olympic coach. Like, oh, you got to go to this place called Sports Performance Institute and you got to take all these courses. So I started to do that with this guy by the name of Ed McNeely and Lloyd Armstrong. So, I hired them to teach me the theory and the practical stuff. And it was fantastic. Great stuff. So then what they did is I said, use me as a guinea pig, like teach me the practical stuff because I want to be the guinea pig. I was still in martial arts. So then what I did is I made a VHS tape. Remember the VHS
man.
So it was called Karate-Size the Tony Greco Way.
I wish you still had that tape, but like send it.
I'm gonna bring you one.
I swear.
Okay. Karate-Size the Tony Greco Way. And I met a media company and I said, I want to put this in Blockbusters, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? You're not going to make the money. I said, I don't care about the money, right? And this guy was a really good marketer, okay? So I went to the Blockbuster and I said, look, I'll put it here on consignment. Let me see, So we had the stand and back then it was, remember Tybo with Billy Blank?
Yes, I do.
So that came after. So a really cool thing, it said Karate-Size the Tony Greco Way. It was me with my black belt, my niece on the front cover with a tank top.
That's fucking cool, man.
Cool stuff. And it was selling for $19.95 back then. Yeah. We sold 2,000 copies. Now, it wasn't about the money, but it resulted in me opening up that Lean and Fit Center, then another one, then another one,
That's
then another
amazing.
one, then another one. So that's
Why
what I
didn't
mean.
you start with that? That's how you open the lean and fit center.
But see, that's the belief that people have to understand. That belief goes a lot more than knowledge, a lot more than anything else. And that's why I say these guys that crush numbers and stuff, like, I mean, and we've been in meetings where like we're trying to open up a business and people will crush numbers like, oh, it's not going to work. Bullshit, it's not going to work. If you believe, that's way more than knowledge, way more than numbers, because you'll put the sacrifice in to make it work. And that's exactly what we did. So again, you know, oh, I got to see this, I got to see that. We have a friend that's always about that, you know. Oh, well, the numbers don't make sense. The food costs and this bullshit. We'll make it make sense. And what does make sense? Nothing makes sense, right? Let's make it make sense. So the belief part is really important. So that part was, it wasn't about the money. It was about believing in the product and what we delivered. And look what happened. We had 14 locations, 2 in Toronto's. We sold the brand. If I never taken that plunge, I can honestly say it probably would not have happened.
That's amazing, man. Because I believe in the power of the belief system is the strongest system anyways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What about the NHL guys that you train?
Well, I train a lot of them. I mean, my top guy right now is Claude Giroux, plays for the Ottawa Senators. And
oh, no way. He's one of your guys.
So he's been with me since he was 15 years old. I have Jack Quinn, that was a first-round pick, plays for Buffalo Sabres. This guy, Brand Clark, first-round pick last year, plays for LA Kings. I have now this other new kid, Henry Muse, who's going to be in the draft this year, could be potentially first-round pick. And this other guy, Dean Letourneau. There's a lot of people that work out with me, but I'm just naming a few first-round picks. But Claude Giroux.
What are you? You're like the fucking custom auto of fucking hockey, man.
I love it. I love
That's crazy. Well, you have that many first-round picks?
Yes, and that's very rewarding. I'm glad you brought that up, because in a hockey town, to do that year after year after year, that's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. So...
yeah, literally, man. Fuck.
So I'm really happy with the results of Claude Giroux, because whenever he's not doing good, I hear it. Whenever he's doing great, I hear it. And this guy here is 36 years old. I say he's probably the top guy on that Senators team. Goes out every day, wants to win, does whatever he can to win, and gives it 110%. And, you know, again, he's not the biggest guy, not the strongest guy, not the fastest guy. He's got to have something, right? And it's his ability to win every day and refuse to lose.
That power of belief.
So, yeah. And again, I admire a guy like that. So I have a lot of guys that are doing really well. And that's kind of like the new up and coming is the Jack Quinn, the Brand Clarks, and you know, the Henry Muse.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
You don't hear that ever, eh?
Thank you. To
sit there and be like, listen, I had that many first draft picks, and you've had Claude since he was 15.
15. And this guy's like...
So you're just breeding NHL players, bro.
Well, I just try to share that progress that's been working. And, you know, and it's the results speak for themselves, right? Like, that's my passion. Like, I want these guys... I get a high off these guys going first round. I mean, I see a lot of games. That's the other thing. As a coach, I go and watch a lot of the game. I study movement patterns. You know, I put in the work. You got to put in the work, right? You got to be sharp. You got to be a pro at your craft, right? And
all these guys are still with you, by the way.
Yeah, still with me. So Claude's, he spent pretty much half his life with me, you know, which is amazing. So I don't know if you've been to some of the games, but it's great to have this guy in Ottawa, obviously. And I think the fans really appreciate it, because he's been the longest withstanding captain in Philadelphia, and people love him in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, still to this day. Yeah, because he's a driven, hardworking individual, and I think people love hardworking individuals. You know,
100%.
that this guy will go through anything for you to win.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible. Yeah. That must be so gratifying, man, just to be able to be like, I've contributed this much to the sport.
Yeah, I love the fact that these guys are getting the results based on, you know, the principles of the training and stuff. And that's
soon
rewarding.
enough, they're going to start saying, this guy's like Tony Greco, man.
Yeah.
Fuck, you're going to be the new custom auto thing, man.
Speaking of August, what about Mike Tyson fighting? What do you think of that?
That's pissed me off, man.
Hey?
I won't lie to you. That fucking did you not see the rules, first of all, they gave to him?
No, I didn't. I just
The rules are ridiculous. First of all, Jake Paul can wear a headgear. Mike Tyson can't. I think Mike Tyson was you know what? Everyone did the whole Muhammad Ali. I was always a Mike Tyson guy.
Yeah, me too.
I
love Mike Tyson.
I love you too, man. You know what I mean? I was a huge diehard Mike Tyson guy.
Well, the best question I asked is, say, if you were fighting at your prime, would you be more worried of going in the ring with Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson.
Or Iron Mike.
And everybody says Iron Mike.
All
But
day.
even the guys that like Ali, and nothing against Ali, he was the greatest, but they're just something that is not normal with Mike Tyson.
No, man, that guy was you know what's crazy? The guy he punches as fast as a featherweight and he's as strong as a heavyweight.
Yeah.
It's incredible, man.
It's crazy.
But wait, the rules that they have is fucking ridiculous. First of all, I don't even know why they're throwing events like these. Jake Paul can wear headgear.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, Iron Mike, even though he's 55, is a goddamn beast. No headgear. Second of all, they're gonna test Mike Tyson for performance enhancements.
Okay.
They're not gonna test Jake Paul, so that guy can be on anything under the sun. You want to give him hormones? Jake Paul, come see Tony Greco. We'll get you hormones. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Third, this is the dumbest one of all of them.
Yeah.
He can tag team with his brother, so it can be a 2-on-1.
Come on.
Explain that one to me. What does that even mean, man?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, it means, you know what? They're both going to get $20 million for this show. That's what that means.
I can't wait.
That's sad.
Oh, and Mike Tyson, I think this is the last one.
That's crazy. I didn't know these rules.
Yeah, he has to come in at 160 pounds or 161 pounds. Jake Paul could come in at anything. So if he's at 300 pounds, but I'm like, it's Mike Tyson.
That's
anyways.
crazy.
The guy can come in at fucking 90 pounds. Mike Tyson will just kill you.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe those rules are, oh, wow. I mean, I guess it's all the hype and all the money, right?
Well, they got the real deal, bro.
Yeah.
They got Tony Greco. That's what they did. That's what they ended up doing, man.
Yeah.
When are you guys are going to switch the thing over to Flex and Fit?
We're going to start in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So you have to definitely come on. Yeah.
I'm right here, brother.
Yeah, Flex and Fit. And you know what? We're just, again, we love sharing the progress with others. Like, I love being on podcasts. I love the passion, and I think there's more, and I admire what you're doing, which is great.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, as soon as I said, man, I love it right away. And this is amazing place.
I love the attitude, man, because you know what? Honestly, I'm very big on, you just talked about family earlier, right? And I'm very big on building a community and having a band of brothers
that's awesome
that are out there trying to do the same thing, right?
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Right? So I'm like you, man. I believe in something, and I'm just going to keep going for it.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Where can they find you, by the way? Are you still taking on clients?
Yeah, they can go to tgathletics.com. They can go to my Instagram, Tony Greco TG, TikTok, Tony Greco TG, and on Facebook, Tony Greco TG.
You
Very
got
easy.
it, man.
Yeah.
We're going to post this stuff online. We're going to have it in the descriptions. If you guys like what you saw, like, share, and subscribe. Come show the legend himself some love. Canada?
In Manatik.
There you go, man.
Yes.
Upper class.
Thank you.
That's it, man.
Thank
All
you.
love, brother.
Thank you, man. That's freaking awesome.
That was amazing, man.
Thank you, brother.